Good day everyone. First of all, I want to introduce myself. I am Nico Bolivar Cabarubia, a BTBT Ed LX2A student. Today, I am going to discuss the schematic diagram of CRT-TV. The brand of CRT-TV that I want to discuss today is JHZS-TO2. And this schematic diagram is very applicable for the 14 inches to 21 inches. And now, I am going to illustrate the different parts of CRT-TV. And after that, I am going to explain the flow of signal or power distribution in the circuit. By the way, this circuit has no protections compared to the other brand like Sharp, LG, Sony, and etc. But this brand it is very the same in terms of operation. So, isa-isahin na natin ang part or sections of the CRT-TV. This is the power supply, jungle IC, the controls which include the push button, audio video, channel and volume button. This is the infrared and the power indicator lead. Also, this is the vertical amplifier with the value of 78040. This is the horizontal amplifier, playback, and auxiliary input. This is the portion of CRT. Aside from that, this is the audio section which have 5 pins with the value or number UTC 2003 and N601. This is the audio amplifier and this is the output speaker. And lastly, this is the tuner. And now, we are going to explain on how to operate this type of CRT television. Now, we will start in the power supply section. And we know that power supply section is composed of primary and secondary. And this is the primary. The primary, its work is to regulate the input power to sustain the needed voltage of its stages. This is the secondary. Secondary, it is concerned for the distribution of voltages to the different stages of the circuit. The power supply, the most common trouble on this circuit is dead set. In terms of dead set, we will focus only to the primary. And when we determine the dead set, just know if there is no light and power indicator and B plus supply. The primary has a bridge rectifier, and the work of bridge rectifier is to rectify or convert the AC input to DC output, because the requirement voltage of this TV is DC or direct current. After that, it has also a filter capacitor that the main concern is to filter the unnecessary AC signal that enters to the diode. And if this capacitor is changed its value or it open, it will have a lack of fertilization, which means it produces ripple frequency wherein it give a disturbance, and you will see to the output of the television that it has a hanging bar or not, the picture is getting small. In that way, there is an issue to the power supply or in the filter of the primary. And this primary, it is driven by 2 transistors, which is the 2SA1015 and 2SC2655, that gives signal to the regulator or STR to perform regulation. And this circuit will produce switching actions that cause to produce the secondary voltages. And if there is a secondary voltages, there is a distribution of voltages, but there will be only continuous process of regulations or alternations if there is an operation of switching actions of power supply through feedback. The feedback is taking a voltage or signal from B plus to give signal for the secondary and it will back to the regulator circuit, wherein it confirmed that there is a power supply from B+. And if the up-top coupler is broken, we will no longer to get a value of B+, or otherwise there is a shortage in the secondary circuit. Next one, this circuit and this 28 volts, it will supply the vertical amplifier. And if there is an issue regarding the vertical height, we will focus only to the vertical amplifier. Maybe there is no 28 volts coming from secondary 28 volts. And that way, we will going to check the diode, filter capacitor, and resistor. And if this is an open, so there is no supply of 28 volts. This is 8 volts B3, it supply the chroma. And 5 volts B6, it supply this portion. While 5 volts B5 CPU, it supply from the chroma. And if there is no supply from chroma, that means chroma is dead. So in that case, our TV will no longer to power on because there is no 5 volts supply. And the last is 14 volts B4. It is the supply of the audio section. So if there is no audio amplification sound, possible it has in the audio. So check the 14 volts. So this is the memory that the supply is 5 volts B5. And this circuit with 110 volts B1 will going to the input of playback, and it will goes to the collector of our horizontal. The horizontal drive has a transformer, and if this transformer has no supply, it will no longer an oscillation occur. So the supply of this transformer is taken from 28 volts B2 of vertical. The output of playback, we have 180 volts going to the CRT, and this is the one will gives a supply for the 3 transistor, which is the RGB. And now there is some issue when 180 get up. In that term, your output of the playback is not normal because if the voltage exceeds above 180. In that way, it is possible to broken the horizontal transistor, or it may be the playback. To control the raising of voltage, check the B+, because if the B+ is high, it will possible the output is high. But if the B+ is normal, that means there is another issue like changing in value of the snubber capacitor that will cause the 180 volts to raise up. So we need to normalize the 180 volts to prevent some issue. Next one is the tuner sections that it has a supply of 5 volts B6. And the main rail or supply, it regulated by this power supply. If there is no 33 volts but it has B+, check the Zener diode if does not have an output of 33 volts. In these controls, we should have a measurement about 5 volts because if does not have a 5 volts, the controls will not function. And this power on, it is the one will give a signal to operate the whole chroma system. And the operation is, there is a supply and it will distribute to all the stages of televisions. After the distribution, if the chroma has a signal, it will analyze if the vertical, horizontal, tuner, and audio circuit, IR sensor, drivers, video amplifier is good. The chroma system will possibly have a chance to on the TV. But if there is a problem, the television will not on, or otherwise it will show a symbol of problem from the particular section or circuit. Additionally, the other brand of CRT TV has a protections, so sometimes it is hard to analyze the problem. So the best way to cope that problem is to disable the protections, and after that you will easy to find out the issue of the CRT TV. So guys, this is the end of my presentations, and thank you.